What are you
Yeah.
dancing today?
Hmm. I am dancing cows. I'm dancing cows. Cows.
Did you say now, cow, or calves?
Yeah. Uh, hmm. I am dancing a cow. Mm. That's
Yesterday, I saw turtles.
uh-huh.
I'm in New Mexico, Albuquerque, and I was walking down the Rio Grande, and there were some turtles bathing on, or sunbathing on these branches. And the best thing was there was three on one branch, and then all of a sudden one just sort of rolls off the off the branch into the water.
Wow. Was it a big tortoise?
Turtle? No, they're maybe like two hands, the size of two hands.
Hmm. Do you think we're the young?
I don't know, but I, I was seeing uh, these rock carvings by the Native Americans, the Pueblo people that lived here, and the turtles they feature in these carvings. But I mean, a lot of animals feature, but the turtles are there.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. So are you dancing a turtle?
I didn't think that it was because you mentioned cow.
Yeah.
Have you seen, have you, how come cows came into your
I've no idea. I just found myself like being a sort of a cow body.
grazing
I yeah. No, yeah.
herd mentality?
I didn't feel like be a cow. I just felt like a part of a cow or a little sensation. I don't know.
Mm. Of course, there's a lot of cowboys here. So like there's an association I have, of course, with cows, but
Hmm.
in a very different way.
Hmm. Okay.
The sort of colonial animal.
Hmm. Maybe
I yeah.
I just maybe I have a rumination. You have
Hmm.
something like that come up and down. That's
Mm.
why what made me feel like cow can be also probably sheep or any kind of other animal that ruminate.
Yeah.
Maybe that is what it is. Maybe.
I think the cow is very interesting because it sort of digests. And I feel like I'm digesting this morning, like somehow sort of chewing through where I've been, what I'm arriving with. Because when did we see each other last? It was last week.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How much you can do in a week. This morning I watched the sunrise and I had that sort of but I think I have it a lot, but this sort of naive thought of like, gosh, this happens every day. This happens every day. There is a sunrise
Yeah,
in some way, I guess, and there's always a sunrise somewhere as well, right?
yeah, of course. It's always. What time was your sunrise there?
7:20 Mountain Standard Time, and what is that, like 6 hours, 7 hours? Um, uh, Before you, or no, after you, after, yeah.
Mm.
But like, yeah, just this like the process of digesting, ruminating, um, sorting through the specificity of a day.
Mm. Yeah.
Like one thing that I've always been very interested in, and this leads us a little bit to like this thing of instruction and authority, but is how in dance the you can't you can't ignore what came before, right? Like the what you do prior to what you're doing is in effect a part of what you are doing. And mm, even though we have this sense of like days restarting
Mm.
and like, okay, now I go again or I start to dance again, it's formed by the like what has come before. And I think maybe I'm also more talking about like how like when you warm up, how when you do something to prepare for a dance, that preparation is very much a part of what you're then able to do and what it is done, sort of thing. Like even just the authoritative nature of a warm up, like now we are allowed to go to these spaces. Like even by permitting ourselves, I'm in a hotel room. I don't think I've moved like this in this hotel room since I've been here. And because we have framed and created this space to allow for it, it's changing my relationship to what is possible and what is doable in this space.
Yeah. Is the warm up? It's interesting to warm up to something that you don't know to what you need for, right? The warm up is usually a bit specific on. Okay, I
Mm.
warm up because later I will do this.
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely.
but but if you don't know what you will do later, how you warm up, I mean, like you might have some general feelings of you being ready for many different things.
Yes.
You're just waking up the body.
And is it fair to call it warm up? You know how we were talking about dancing for oneself, dancing alone.
Mm.
Um, if we privilege that or like give that um, importance in specificity, is it fair to sort of not just say this is another dance with different um, just at a different time almost? I was going to say like with a different role because of course that's obvious, like to warm up for something, to prepare, even if it's known or non known.
Mm.
But equally, it could just be considered a dance on a stage that is more personal, maybe more private, than a stage that is sort of outward facing, social.
Yeah, but it's also a dance for a reason. Yeah, to warm up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's also like the main
I,
goal of the dance is to warm up. But are we warming up? I mean, are we
let,
warming up for the talk? Is that what where are we doing?
I mean, well, three things. I often like to think about like warming up for an audience. Like the audience themselves have to warm up. Like the first things you do is a type of warm up, like an introduction. You're setting the codes, the contract through which to relate to um, this moment. And maybe you do two. Maybe the whole performance is a warm up for something. So yeah, I hope not, because I don't want to make the dance a sort of secondary thing to the talking, as if the talking is more important, right? But can we talk like this? This is something Katie Coe was saying. Actually, she was talking about how she has this talking practice, this writing practice, and she doesn't want to um, lose the dance, that the dance becomes subservient to the text. And she spoke about like when she reads it, it's important that she has danced before, talking about it, so that there is that the dance has um, a role, maybe. So maybe here that's like we're trying to always start with dancing, but there are different types of dancing. Yeah, we do what, 15 minutes? Less probably, 5 seconds, and then we start talking.
Right.
Um, and of course, that's very different to a dance that's an hour and has no talking. And even if then we started speaking after, or like the dance that Katie Coe at the uh, Waynesgate dances, they never reflect on the dancing practice, which is so interesting.
Yeah, today, sorry, I'm a bit sick, and I can't be together with the dance and talk.
Yeah,
Hmm,
could
interesting.
because it's a virus you have, like sort of cold or flu.
I have a cold.
Yeah, it's
But
so amazing sickness, I find, actually, because it's it feels so alien, and at the same time we must be contending with types of sickness and illness all the time. But there's a point at which where we notice its effect on our ability to perform as we would like to.
yeah.
Here it's really high altitude, so there's less oxygen than I'm used to.
Uh-huh.
Jennifer Lacey yesterday we were talking, was saying how she really struggled to dance in this town in Albuquerque because of the. But do you feel like you can still be with the dance even though you're sick?
Yeah, I can't be with a dancer with a talk somehow, but maybe I
Hmm.
can even. I don't feel even comfortable though. It's so interesting. I feel like, oh, my hips are actually better, but the rest, no.
Ah,
What's the thinking?
you're also thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the task, the task, the two tasks together of speaking
Mm.
and dancing, and your last episode about authority and having the two authorities, the conflict of having two authorities. And in such a moment, I am like, the conflict is there like very easily.
Hmm.
Both, although both of them are not fully there, I can
Yes.
handle that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, they say multitasking isn't a thing. We actually tend to just switch between one thing and another. So then, but we know that we can at some point get really good at talking and dancing if we practice long enough. But then is it talking dancing rather than two separate things at the same time?
Yeah, right.
And are authorities always things that we have to concentrate on? Like it's an instruction that one hears and then has to concentrate to follow. Is it still an instruction? Is it still an authority if it's then becomes sort of automatic? It becomes something we don't have to think about anymore, something habitual. Is that not just us then?
Sometimes, I mean, of course, I do put energy in the following. For example, when I dance tango, I
Hmm.
mostly dance as a follower, and I am there, and you know, I really like. Okay, now I put all my focus everywhere in the body, and I don't assume where I have to go. The
Mm.
body will tell me through the leading of the other of this person in front of me. And somehow it's also it's focusing, but it's not focusing. Also, it's spreading focus.
Mm.
It's focusing on the listening. It's also let it go out of the control.
Yeah,
So maybe the following that's maybe there is this authority. It's about maybe it's also about controlling, but
yeah.
following is really not about controlling.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Or, yeah, it depends if there's a conflict maybe or not.
I think it's really interesting because I don't know if I made it clear, but like authority and instruction, I found really interesting, and I've spent a lot of time sort of thinking about it. Um, and I think we generally, I definitely have found that I believe that when we work with authority, then we're working with quite negative things, right? Like being controlled, being manipulated. However, the more I work with it, I think those things are a big danger and are close at hand, but it's very generative to question and play with and challenge and move with and adjust and be creative with, break, quirk, make weird, make wobbly, make ambiguous, all of those, the authorities and what it is. And if it's fullness, like how authoritative really is a thing. And I find it a very creative place to think. And it doesn't have to be this sort of negative, or not negative, maybe like hyper political. And politics often feels like it has to be serious, but I feel it doesn't have to fall into seriousness. It doesn't have to be mm, life or death, even though it is that material of ethics, isn't it? It's the material of power structures and things. Um, but then um, I think a good um, and another term maybe is the idea of domination. which is different, I think, to instruction and authority. Because you can follow an authority, you can give instructions, but when it becomes problematic is when it's dominating. And domination somehow impedes upon someone's selfhood, like who they are, who they're able to be, and their autonomy, their sense of freedom. And of course, within a collective, right? Like these things are always informed and reinformed by the individual's intersection with everything around them. And so then the challenge of dealing with domination, the ethics of that is an ongoing process, perhaps. But is that a fair reading? Do you have that sense of like, okay, now we're talking about authority. It has to be serious and political. Like it.
Probably yes, you're right. Probably in the moment I speak about authority or I listen authority.
Yeah.
It's very charged.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm constantly, as you also pointed out, I've always something inside me that is the mostly moment. Authority is a lot inside me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is what I react to. I don't react to the authority
no.
inside me. I react to the one inside me most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the authority I give. What I give authority to is not the choice of them. It's me that I put that authority on them, and then so that's also very interesting. That's why it's so charged, because it's a personal choice I have.
Yeah.
I give it to someone.
Yeah. I think it's extremely bound up with oneself, like who I am, like how I understand myself, and what, and the self-policing that is involved in that, and how I understand myself through the eyes of others and things. Yeah. This is getting very psychoanalytical, but I think it kind of is when we try to unwrap the dynamics that are sort of operating inside us when we are following or listening to instructions, because ultimately they're all interpreted through ourselves, of like, who do I want to be in this situation? Do I want to be a good person following the instructions of how I've interpreted they are? And where does the punishment come from? How is it policed? Is it policed by myself, sort of feeling bad, feeling like I don't belong, that I'm not worthy, I don't exist, or and are the things that I'm reading as external policing, external forms of domination, are they real, or are they a part of my own projection and history with authority, so to speak? Like a sense of belonging, being allowed to exist. I've been recently really dealing with this as a traumatic site in my own experience, where I really struggle with following instructions. And I think it comes from like where as a young person, I felt illegitimate and unworthy, unintellectual, that I didn't belong. I didn't have a place where I could feel legitimate and that I could exist as myself and for myself. And so I think that still echoes. So even in the slightest in the slightest moment where I don't feel like I can ask a question to understand in what way am I to participate in this authority, in this instruction, um, I fall into a place of feeling like, oh, I don't belong because I don't understand. I don't belong because I don't get it. Because my questions can't be answered, or my questions are stupid. They don't belong. But this is a very recent thing, so I'm still dealing with it.
I think, unfortunately, in dance, because we use language also a bit not very very. We use language with a more permission, no,
Mm.
images also.
Mm-hmm.
But then, unfortunately, very often this doesn't make everything very transparent.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a good strategy also to think almost miscommunication, like your next episode.
Yeah.
But it's super good. But then it depends how we react to that. You know, if that miscommunication is allowed,
Mm.
if not answering, it's okay, and it's not knowing, it's okay.
Mm. Mm.
But then if we all have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
These desires for authority as a we.
Yeah.
You know, almost. Then you are not part of the we. If I don't understand, I'm not part of the we. And that's painful, definitely. To be together, also, no.
Yeah.
The group dance. I'm not part of the group dance. Oh, I'm out. I didn't understand, or I'm not doing this like the others. I'm not allowed to do this like the other. You know, like also.
And also,
If I question and I don't get an answer, then.
And also, sometimes I feel like the bigger authorities of the choreographer, which get or sort of exemplary, but also exaggerated. This sort of exaggerated forms of authority where, you hear about horror stories of choreographers sort of being extremely rude and dismissive and damaging, harmful towards dancers. And I wonder if it part comes from the choreographers' struggle with trying to legitimize themselves to such an extent that then the freedom, the being, the existence of other narratives must be dominated, they must be controlled, manipulated, cancelled, corrected, shunned, in order to legitimize their own sense of existence. And you were right, like there's something about the language of it all. Like we do these dances, but we all struggle with articulating exactly what they are. Like our instructions, our authorities are always sort of slippy and blurry and problematic. So then it's almost an impossible task. So then when choreographers are given such high status and positions of power where they're invited and asked almost to be the authority, then they must turn to tactics which enforce their vision, their authority, even in the face of the ambiguity of the meaning and the authority of their dancing, of their thing.
Yeah.
Like, because often the choreographer doesn't even know themselves exactly what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe not. Maybe for choreographers, sometimes it's quite hard to say I don't know. Also.
Yeah.
That it's not a bad I mean, if a choreographer tell me I don't know, I don't see anything bad about that.
Mm.
But
And
it's
how,
true that
yeah, hopefully
maybe,
it's
I mean,
getting better as well.
from a dancer perspective, maybe
Mm.
this is where choreographer don't feel they can't be vulnerable in that sense,
Mm-hmm.
right? They feel that they are
Mm-hmm.
obliged to
Exactly.
perform authority.
Yeah. 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 Because that's what asked of them institutionally, maybe, or something.
Or even by me. I mean, that's by as a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm like, oh, I'm asking you this, and somehow that's it's maybe the only power I have into a
Yeah.
choreographer to ask for clarification. If you think,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and yeah,
Doing these episodes with the dance workshops, like, okay, we touched on authority this week, and then, and going through these different categories. I just, I don't see any end to it. Like, I'm almost like, there's more to say on authority than we can. And I wonder what other exercises there are within the exercises the prompts that I sort of suggested trying, of contradictory authority, instruction, wobbly instruction, all those things. Like, yeah.
yeah. I have this question around authority, but I lost the question. I think it's again about group because we are
Mm,
so used to clean, you know,
mm,
to be sort of to find. Maybe I'm going back into this we authority,
mm,
or into sort of a signature, or into sort of like amalgamation. Is that
mm,
yeah, right? We all get like, and it's very deep. I think it's very difficult to understand. Okay, is this okay in the sort of okay in the group, the
mm-hmm,
way I behave or the way I
mm,
dance? Is this part of it or this out? Should I cut it out? As a dancer, this is
mm,
one of the first questions.
mm.
What do I bring in front of what do I share with
Yeah.
the other? What do I bring in the piece to make sure that the piece goes somewhere
Yes.
that, that is somehow probably led by the choreographer and somehow accepted as
Yeah.
part of the piece. And yeah, I'm sorry, I bring this in. I don't know if it makes sense, but it's about this
No.
relation.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely collective authority, like, how we read a room, even, just the, how do we participate in the social? How do we follow and reject? How do we push against, create openings, or stand rebellious from different things? Um, yeah, I think it's a very important condition that we're always negotiating. And I guess one of the things that I have sort of established is this idea that this is a large part, the choreography is exactly all these intersections of authority. And Yari,
Yeah.
we must leave.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
And I hope you start feeling better.
Yeah, I suppose. Today is a messy day, but it's a promising future, I
Hmm, great.
feel.
Okay. Ciao.
Ciao. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for listening. If you can support the podcast, please go to paypal.me/dancepeter. I'm just looking for a little bit of funding to help support the cost of the hosting. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you so much.